Hello, my name is Sandy Lee. I'm the founder of ES International Group in Sweden, and today I will give you a short presentation about the Swedish participation about Expo 2014. First of all, this will take place in a province called Shandong. I normally say that to remember Moi Shandong, so Shandong is a very interesting province located between Beijing and Shanghai, and has almost 100 million of inhabitants. If you think about China is as big as Europe, so this is not a country, this must be like Germany or France or Great Britain, the big countries. And it produces actually 10% of Chinese GDP, so it's very strong, both industrial-wise and agriculture-wise and culture-wise. It is also the hometown of Confucius. So it has a very long tradition, more than 5,000 years history, and it's really interesting. And if you want to get some old feelings back from Beijing 20 years ago, and Shandong is perfect place to see the mix of the modern and the traditional China, and meanwhile it's a very nice place. It's at the coast, east coast of China. They have the longest coastline of China among all the provinces. And Expo will take place in a nice city called Qingdao. Probably a lot of people remember it from the most famous beer, Qingdao beer in China. And actually 2008, when Beijing had the Olympic Games, so all the water sports have been taking place in Qingdao. And it had a long tradition with Germany, because it was 100 years ago. Germans were there and built the city and the railway and everything there. So they even take the tradition of the German beer culture. So around a month ago, I was in Qingdao, attended the Oktoberfest. Was crazy. And also, like Shandong province is located very close to Japan and South Korea. So these countries are also a very strong influence with Shandong. And during the Expo time, there will be a lot of tourists from Japan and South Korea there as well. So it's very international. And Sweden has been involved in the previous Expos. So if you talk about the Expo, it's like the Olympic Games, and there is a committee that is above all the World Exhibition Expos, and it's called BIE, Bureau d'Internationale Exposition in Paris. And there are 3 levels of Expo. The first one is the biggest one, like every 5 years. Probably a lot of people remember 2000 in Hanover, and 2005 was in Japan. 2010 was in Shanghai. That was the world's biggest fair with 73 million of visitors. And 2015 it will be in Milan in Italy. And every other year it's possible to arrange a smaller expo. For example, 2008 in Zaragoza in Spain, that we were involved, and 2012 in South Korea. So, but this expo is only for 3 months, but the biggest one is for 6 months. And there is a Class 3 Expo that is like a little brother from another organization that deal with horticulture, flowers and trees. But they are accepted under the BIE, so these 3 levels are the only one that is acknowledged by BIE. So for the Class 3 Expo, it is possible to participate as a city or as a province. But most of these are happened between the friendship cities, relationship cities. So a Swedish city, Umeå, has been a friendship sister city with Xi'an. And so 2011, when Xi'an had the horticulture expo, Umeå was participating and made a Umeå garden. And the year 2014, that Westmanland will participate and build a Swedish garden, which is not only for Westmanland, but give possibility for whole Sweden. So the goal is to bring the whole Swedish know-how to our friendship city or friendship province, Shandong, and present the best of Sweden. So on this picture, you can see that in the center is our governor, Mr. Ingmar Skogöl from Westmanland, and this is the vice governor from Shandong province, Mr. Sun Xiaocheng, and this man is Stefan Björk. He has been responsible for all years Swedish participation in the expos, and he's been working in Swedish Foreign Affairs Ministry, and he knows a lot about Expo, and he was also the vice president of BIE. So this is a website and the master plan for the Qingdao Expo 2014. It's very nice planned, and it's located in a very Pictionary area with mountains around between Qingdao city center and the airport. The whole area is 2.41 square kilometers. It is very big, and in the center this area is reserved for international garden, and this is a Chinese garden. I want to say that almost 40 countries participating, and all the Chinese provinces are there with their own gardens and showing their unique flowers and garden design and their understanding about environment and sustainable development. And Swedish Garden is located very nicely in the center of International Garden, and we have advantage to receive a lot of VIP guests, because this is the main entrance and this is a VIP reception, and so we are very close to the VIP reception, so this will be one of the highlights for the Chinese politicians, international VIP guests to come and to have a stop by and to experience a different environment in the Swedish Garden. So this is how the Swedish Garden looked like, and this picture has been taken from the VIP reception building. And I remember when I was there in the middle of nowhere, nobody really can imagine or believe how the garden would look like. And 1 year later we had a Volvo construction equipment machine there and digging out, and it was so efficient. So in a few days we have this big hole there, and in that hall it will be actually the Swedish pavilion will be built on this place, and actually in this basement there will be the fantastic ice bar from Jukkasjärvi in Sweden. So I was there. It was very exciting to walk around, and I think it will be even more interesting when everything is ready built. So the theme for the whole expo is about from the earth for the earth. It's pretty much about environment thinking and sustainable development and also innovation. The period will be from April to October for 6 months, and totally they're expecting the committee is expecting 12 million of visitors. And we are expecting 4 million visitors to the Swedish Garden. And the 12 million is official number, but there is also internal goal that they try to reach 18 million of visitors. And for all of you who work with China already now, you know that if the goal is set, probably they will reach it as well. So last year, 2012, there was an official delegation from Westmanland to Shandong, and this was in Qingdao when our governor, Mr. Ingmar Skogöl, was signing the participation letter of intent with the vice mayor of Qingdao, who is responsible for the Expo project. And this is a letter of intent, and then their Yes International Group got the trust to implement the project. It's a huge task, but it's very exciting to do it between Sweden and China. We want to implement the Swedish model. In order to make a great success, we have to involve both government, company and culture together. And we have developed a model that you can see that the yellow color is representing government, and blue color is representing company, and the red is for culture-related organizations and companies. So, but what are we going to show at the pavilion? You know, if we think about horticulture and Sweden, you know, you say, hey, what do you have in Sweden? Like ice and snow, and you know, the winter is so long and so dark. But Sweden is a nation with 9 million inhabitants, but it's also the most innovative nation in the world. So I have this famous man, Carl von Linné, or in English it's Linnaeus. Is this man who founded the modern classification of the whole plants. Let's say this plant belongs to this group, this family, this area. This system has been made by the Swiss Linné. And he is so famous that you can find him on the 100 Swedish crowns bill. And on the bill you can see a shadow with a square-shaped garden. It looks like this. And it is the Linné's garden located in Uppsala. It is actually also the first botanic garden in Sweden. It was built in the 1665. And I think so, let me check. It was built, yes, 1655. And it is still located in Uppsala and is really recommended for all of you who have the chance to go there and take a look. And this area is Linné's museum. And it has been Linné's home for 35 years. And it is a 2-floors building, and we're going to talk more about that. First of all, we take the inspiration from this garden, because now we're talking about a design of the Swedish garden. So, we take the inspiration from them, and we made some modifications, because the area we have is a squared one. So we moved the under part up. And based on that, we have created a modern design of a garden like that. And here we have a nice brochure. You can download it go to the website, and there's a material download, and you can find this one. From what we want to talk more about the plan, because for all of you who learn Chinese, you can tell more from this design, because it reminds you this Chinese sign called Rei. And on the left part is this sign means king, and this sign means mountain. That's why we have built a little hill there. And here is an old word saying and. It shows the classic connection between different plants and connection between different flowers and plants, and related with the Linné's classification system. So, totally, this sign, Rei, means good, nice, harmony, and well balanced. And this little building has a lot of limitations. It cannot be more than 9 meters high, it cannot take more than 30% of the whole area. So what can you build with a building of 9 meter high? For apartment you can build 3 floors, but for exhibition you need more space, so it can only be 2 floors. So we take the inspiration from Linné's old home, which is also 2 floors, and we build this little house there. And with this little road to go up together, it inspires with this Chinese sign called Dian. And Dian means example, case study, and reference. So in the pavilion we're going to show you a lot of different reference and case studies and success stories from Sweden. But hey, let's stop there, because you probably think, what this Chinese guy is talking about? Are we going to learn some Chinese or what? Here, we'll come to the next page, then you will see what my point is. So, now the magic thing. So, from this side, you can tell 2 Chinese letters, Rei and Dian, and together they mean Sweden. Yes, Sweden. A well-balanced example, harmonic example. And on this side, you have 100% Swedish design with Linné's garden, and here it's 100% Swedish, and there is 100% Chinese. And it's amazing, because not only to mention this transaction and the culture comparison, and it's also the first time a nation's name have ever been turned into landscape and architecture in reality. It's fantastic. It's innovation. So in summertime, this the most important holiday is Swedish midsummer, and people are getting crazy, and it's a big celebration always, and people started dancing and make weird movements there, and everybody is acting like a kid because the weather is good and everybody is in a good mood. So we will turn this fontaine into this midsummer pot, and we will make a celebration there. we are going to have a lot of different celebrations here. You can read from our website about the activities. And just want to mention that in September we're even going to have a Swiss streaming party. I think a lot of Swiss are smiling right now. If you don't know what Swiss streaming is, you have to ask your Swedish friend. So inside the building we're going to go through a story and come to Linné's home and seeing different classification of plants and understanding how important horticulture is for our modern life. And then also see the problem of industrial and pollution and how it's like a danger factor of our future life. And then, hey, what shall we do there? And suddenly we come under a magic northern light covered Lapland, which is, we feel the pureness and the passion of snow and ice and life. And then we will go through the ice tunnel, which is very cool in summertime, of course. And we will see different case studies in Sweden. And this is the trip we're going to make at the first floor of the pavilion. And we will divide it into many, many small rooms and quite dark. And you will experience different scenery one by one. And this is artificial ice tunnel, but you are going to experience something real as well with real ice from Lapland. And second floor is very bright and very open, and there we're going to have different activities, for example matchmaking, conference and presentations and press conference and matchmaking. And also we're going to have a fine dining there. There you can experience the salmon from Sweden, the elk meat and special dishes from Lapland, from whole Sweden, which is very exciting. And we have built a little model there. You can see this model very soon in the center of Västerås, where everything has been planned. At the roof there is a terrace where you can enjoy coffee, Swedish coffee. Sweden is the #1 in the world of consumption of coffee per person. So I think a lot of Swedes are coffee addicted, and we will try to make more Chinese become addicted during the expo time as well. So the terrace, and we have the conference room, the dining room, and then we have the exhibition center and basement with magic blue light. We're going to present you the magic ice hotel with real ice from Jukkasjärvi, from the heart of Lapland, and you're going to experience special drinks in an ice glass cup. And also there we're going to have a special exhibition about Linné. You can see a Linné ice sculpture, and you can see some magic flowers inside ice. Because there in Lapland, people are thinking ice is kind of flowers. Because normally flowers bloom in summertime and die in winter. And ice bloom in wintertime and die in summertime. So there are a lot of philosophic thinking behind that, and you're going to experience all of this in the magic ice bar. So we talk about the building, we talk about showing you different case studies in Sweden, and you can see different aspects and success stories from Sweden. But if it will be too crowded to get inside, you can even get some kind of feeling when you are walking around, because this feeling will have different wall with 4 different faces. The first one is a typical follow red color from the heart of Sweden, a province called Dalarna. And there you can experience the agriculture of Sweden 200 years ago. And the second part is made by bricks. This is like my city, Västerås, where is the headquarters of a Swedish company, ABB. And everything started around 100 years ago, once Sweden moved from agriculture country to an industrial country. And here you can feel the industrialization in Sweden 200 years ago. And the third part is made by metal and glass, and very modern, very light, and with a lot of innovative thinking for new materials, a new way of building houses. And in Sweden, in the area of Stockholm, you can have a very great example of a place called Hammarby Sjöstad, which is the biggest eco city in whole Europe actually. And there you can see an innovative Sweden in the modern time. And the next one, with a lot of pipes and things, this is a symbol of how the future's apartment will be. And there you can see different things about passive house and energy saving houses and building, and it represents you how the future Sweden, the sustainable development Sweden in 100 years ago. So this, you will follow the development of Sweden, and we are going to present you the best of Sweden, like the Dragon Dance movement, bring it to China. And if you want to know the success behind of that, again, this is the triple helix model that I'm talking about. This is by the cooperation between culture, industry, academy, and government. All together, we can make things happen. And this is why Sweden, as a small nation, has so many great companies internationally. And there are a lot of things that is worthy to study and to learn and to develop together. So that's why we're bringing all these great case studies to China. And meanwhile, we introduce this to the Chinese market. We also bring a great opportunity for the Swedish companies. So it's really a win-win strategy. So now we can talk again about this special event, the Horticulture Exposition in China. So a horticulture exposition is so much more than a normal garden show, because we managed to bring the culture part, a garden with linear, with flowers, to industry, presenting technology, eco-friendly solutions, and we talk even about an automatic garden that with sensors, and then machines know when and where to water the flowers. And we're going to present you the Chinese and more Swedish lifestyle with music, with ice bar, and you have to know that Sweden is the third biggest music exporting country in the world. So there is a strong connection between horticulture and Swedish environmental technology, because Swedish environmental technology is so much advanced that a lot of people even don't understand and don't think that they can share a part of it. I remember I have a friend who learned Chinese, who is Swiss, learned Chinese, and he told me that, hey Sandy, the first thing I learned is I love nature. And I said that, hey, in Chinese sounds very, very wrong, because he said, 我爱大自然. I said, hey, the word nature, I haven't been using it since I was finishing my nature class in the 3rd grade in kindergarten, in primary school. You can use other words like naturally and so on, but not nature, because the relationship between Chinese people and nature has been completely different. If you ask a Chinese, what is nature? He will say, oh, that's a nice flower, I want to use it to decorate my home. And that's a great place with fantastic scenery that I want to go and take picture. But you see the distance between them. There is always a distance between people and nature in China. I remember that when I was there with my kids and playing around in a garden, and a lot of other parents saying, hey, don't go, it's dirty, and oh, maybe you get, or maybe they spray some chemical things on the flowers, so it's okay to look but don't touch. So it's completely different relationship. But if you talk about the food, I mean, Chinese love different kind of food. So you talk about, hey, pick up the apple from tree. It tastes like when you were a kid. Tastes great, without putting chemical things, without spraying anything on the fruit, without destroying the water, the soil, and it keeps a better environment. Suddenly they understand. So we talk about horticulture, talk about food. This is like a small introduction to present the Swedish advanced environmental technology. So think about it.